Welcome back to The Basements for Stars. I'm your host, V. Paul Jambazian, and I'm going to be doing something a little different for this episode. I started a Substack last year and haven't been as active as I'd like on it, other than posting about new episodes of the podcast, of course. But recently I started writing on there, and I like to share my latest piece in response to musician, producer, YouTuber Rick Beato in regards to his video from last week. I just watched Rick Beato's newest video, the latest offering to the discourse and talk around Wired's now infamous article on Chaotic Good Project's illicit marketing tactics and their client Brooklyn indie rock band Geese. The nicest thing I can say about this video is that it leaves much to be desired. And I should note, I do agree with Rick on most of his opinions and stances. I honestly don't think he understands how modern marketing in the music industry works nowadays and what's involved in these campaigns. The best part of this rant is him pointing to Spotify streaming numbers as proof that Geese is an organic happening, which is ridiculous. The only contemporary non-legacy rock bands that stream very high are Arctic Monkeys, Imagine Dragons, 21 Pilots, and maybe The Neighborhood. And I should say Arctic Monkeys, I think, is approaching legacy status now. I'm using the term rock very broadly and loosely here because I don't consider the last three bands rock at all. Indie bands just don't get those high streaming numbers and plays in the way he thinks they should. Not Nation of Language, Dive, Wednesday, nor Wet Leg, not even his favorite band Pearl Jam racks high streaming numbers compared to how they perform in any other metric or avenue outside of digital. Legacy indie bands, however, are the only ones that remotely come close to those numbers, but nowhere near the numbers that pop artists like Taylor Swift, The Weeknd, Ariana Grande, and Ed Sheeran garner on Spotify. Stream farms have been an open secret in the music industry since around 2015 to about 2018, somewhere around there. Anytime I see songs that have absurdly high plays on Spotify, I just assume it's due to stream farms. I've had people in the industry tell me as much. You may ask, why wouldn't a band like Geese employ such clandestine tactics and methods? Firstly, it would completely blow their cover. It'd be ridiculous to see a band like Geese with like 10 billion plus plays on Spotify. It's just not realistic. Secondly, it takes a lot of initial capital to hire a stream farm operation. An entire album's fee would be around $150,000. They're an indie band after all, on an indie record label. I'm not saying bands on independent labels can't get a lot of streams on Spotify. I'm immediately thinking of Mom and Pop's Alice Merton and Courtney Barnett, though they don't come nowhere near the numbers of Ed Sheeran and Ariana Grande. And no, I don't consider Flume rock. Independent labels aren't going to allocate budgets for stream farming and run the risk of getting investigated. They can and do spend their funds in much more realistic and effective ways. Rick goes on and compares what Chaotic Good does for bands and artists to street teams of the 90s and aughts. I don't know on what planet you can compare Chaotic Goods and similar firms' tactics, the same ones utilized by genocidal states and entities and nefarious cybersecurity technology consulting firms, to teens and tweens papering walls and telephone poles and handing out flyers and download cards at music venues. I am immediately remembering Reed Jackson's, the great music writer, tweet from not that long ago in response to someone basically saying the same thing. In many ways, downtown telephone poles were the social media of their time. I think singer-songwriter indie artist Ben Lee sums it up perfectly here.
I had a debate with Dave Grohl about this once. I loved Pulp more than Oasis and Blur, and I actually thought they were a better band. And I was like, Pulp's the one. And he was like, if they're that good, why aren't the kids filling stadiums to hear them? That viewpoint, I fundamentally disagree with it. Like, that's populism. If things are good, they're big, and if things are big, they're good. And I do think there is an overlap. For something to get really, really big, a lot of forces have to converge. One of them is talent. The other is timing. The other is marketing. Luck is huge. What became really apparent in the whole Geese discourse is how much people do not want to believe there's any manipulation of their taste. People really do hold this naive belief that we are in a pure meritocracy. Anyone that thinks that it's basically fair and that the biggest is always the best is totally delusional.
I'll end on this. I find it hysterical and strange that Rick has produced and created multiple videos going on and on about AI. But when a band hires a marketing firm that utilizes AI to manufacture synthetic echolalia and trending content, it suddenly doesn't matter because the industry has always manipulated the media in some fashion. A lot of the hype around Geese isn't real because these people don't actually exist. How he doesn't understand this and is in fact okay with it, but has a problem with fake AI bands and artists, and rightfully so, is truly beyond me.